What is up? What is happening? Today we are tackling some Underdog fantasy playoff best ball drafts. I'm super excited to get into these because we got playoff scenarios starting to unfold. We kind of are starting to look at, especially on the NFC side, like how does this team get the 1 seed? How does that team get the 1 seed? So on and so forth. So we are going to head right into the trenches here, go into some playoff best ball drafts, and a reminder too that we are doing these over on Underdog. They're so fun. It is the most fun way to root for the NFL playoffs, especially if, like Danny, your team isn't going to make the playoffs, or your team has a less than 1% chance of making the playoffs as it currently stands right now.
What's crazy
you can root for your teams then.
What's crazy too is how would the odds have changed if that muff punt doesn't happen and the Cowboys kick the game-winning field goal and they're 7-7 instead of 6-8 right now? Again, I'm not saying
they would have the same odds, presumably, as Atlanta to make the playoffs, which is actually a little bit less because they have the division.
Probably the Arizona odds.
Yeah, Arizona still got division live as well. So it would be slightly less than Atlanta, but higher than Arizona, most likely. It's probably like 15-20% chance.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not saying they're a good team, but also it's like you play the Eagles, you play the Commanders, you play the Bucks, you're playing 3 playoff teams. It's probably unlikely that you'd go 3-0 anyways, but I mean, that would be quite hilarious if the Cowboys did that.
Yeah. So Spicy, if you want to enter the gauntlet there, we do also, for those of you guys that are looking like, oh, it's way too early to be drafting teams, there's no point of drafting right now. There is a free tool that I'm going to drop in the chat right now that we also have pinned in the description of this live stream as well, where I went through all the playoff odds. I stacked up, chances that they win the divisions, chances that they get a bye. And I also kind of made like a prediction based on their rest of season schedules. And I kind of did like official prediction, who I think will be the 1 seed, who I think will be the 2 seed in both conferences, so on and so forth. And some of the teams too are like pretty like not locked into where they're going to be, but it's very likely, for example, that the Green Bay Packers are the 6th seed in the NFC. It's very likely that happens. For example, the Washington Commanders, it's pretty likely that they're going to be the 7th seed in the NFC. It's pretty likely that the Buccaneers are going to be the 3 seed in the NFC.
I got to ask you this, Packers Bucks would be quite the fucking playoff game. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, no, it absolutely would. I think it would be a ton of fun to watch that one. I would personally, rather play Washington, but I think it's pretty unlikely that Green Bay would. I mean, they have some tough matchups. They got to go on the road to Minnesota in week 17, so it's possible they could lose that game. But the only way the Commanders would pass them then, I guess, is if the Commanders won out, I would imagine, which against the Eagles this week and the Falcons in week 17, I like those might not be win out situations.
I'll also tell you right now, Commanders are going 0-2 against the Cowboys this year.
They could, yeah. And the Cowboys, they play in week 18 as well. So yeah, all of that information. If you guys are wondering like, okay, well, if I draft a team and like, I have no idea where the seeding is going to be, like I also put in here, like what teams you should pair. Like if you're going same conference, like if you draft like 2 Eagles or whatever, and you're like, okay, I want to draft other NFC teams because I don't really believe in the Eagles. I think the NFC is wide open. In the Eagles section, it says NFC teams to pair with them. Detroit and Tampa Bay. It's very unlikely that those 2 teams would cross paths until the NFC Championship.
And the Packers.
Which is the ideal scenario there.
And the Packers, right?
The Packers, yes, technically the Packers too. But the sketchy thing is that I'm projecting the Eagles to get the 1 seed. So if the Packers won in round 1, it's very possible that they would play the Eagles in round 2.
Right, fair. Because
like we don't expect the Commanders to win in round. Like the only way they wouldn't play the Eagles if they were the 1 seed is if the Commanders also won against what would that be, against Detroit? Like I don't think that's going to happen. So like I said, the official predictions I have is that I think the Eagles will get the 1 seed, the Lions will be the 2 seed because they have a tougher schedule rest of season, and also the Eagles have a tiebreaker against the Lions as well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are most likely going to get the 3 seed, but that is a toss-up between them and the NFC West winner. Right now, that would be Los Angeles Rams. And then the Minnesota Vikings virtually locked into the 5 seed unless they get the 1 or the 2. And we got the 101.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. Are we going to go with – so we're going to go with Josh?
All day. I think the Bills are my favorite bet to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like that's the other. So I'm going to, like when I drop this, I'm going to drop this master sheet over on Flock, and I might write like a small article or maybe even make a small video just on like strategy tips for these contests in general, because it's very simple to say, oh, you're predicting who's in the Super Bowl. But there's so much more elements and layers of strategy that go involved, because if you think, for example, a bye week team will make the Super Bowl, you then have to strategize in the wild card round to make sure you advance out and you actually get that team out of round one, because that's difficult to do. It's easier said than done when you only have 10 picks and you got to roster 5 players in a lineup.
Well, the reason why I think the Bills are just obviously, I feel like I've been drafting Bills every year, but for this year specifically, you have listed here, most confident they will be the 2 seed. I mean, KC's 13-1. They would need a basically miracle to finish as the 1 seed. We know Josh Allen's giving you a positional advantage. And on top of that, the best part about grabbing a Josh Allen at the 101 is a lot of Bills pass catchers are affordable. Like even if you look, you want a late round Dawson Knox. You want a late round Curtis Samuel. You want a late round Matt Collins. You want a late round Ty Johnson. There's just so many Bills that you can see having spike weeks in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I actually made the championship of the gauntlet last year. I got a team to the final, and it's unfortunate for me that Detroit blew their lead against San Francisco in the second half of the NFC Championship, because had the Lions made the Super Bowl instead of the 49ers, I had 9 players in the Super Bowl live. I probably would have finished very highly in the gauntlet. So I had a dead team somewhat in the gauntlet final, which is an underrated part of these contests, is that usually if you can make the final and you have 6, 7, 8, 9 live players, you're probably better off than 50-60% of the teams to begin with, because a lot of people would have advanced teams that lost in the AFC and NFC championship.
Is this guy trying to get the fucking draft thrown out?
Is that Kenny Pickett that he just took?
Is this guy trying to get the draft thrown out?
I don't know, but let's see what he's doing here. Jameson Williams and Kenny Pickett. Okay. Well, sure. I mean, also this Hot Z Sauce guy was in a lot of my BBMs too.
There's one clear guy we're hoping falls here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It kind of goes without saying too that there is no danger. Like, you don't need to use our master sheet here when it comes to when you're going AFC and NFC, then you're just kind of predicting who you think will go far in either conference. It's when you're picking same conference teams that you need to know that, yeah, it's James Cook for sure.
And I think you could just pair that straight with Khalil Shakir, right?
Do we want to grab Shakir or do we want to grab an other conference player?
I would be okay with Jacobs. I personally don't think the Vikings will make the Super Bowl.
Neither do I. So let's go with Shakir. Okay. I think that's the best option there. Yeah, we're going to have to gal brain an NFC team potentially, or go cheap on one of the contenders. Like, in my mind, just from the NFC side of things, I do believe it will be one of Philadelphia, Detroit,
Green Bay,
or chaos that it's Tampa or Green Bay or Minnesota. Those are the 5 teams I think that can reasonably actually make the Super Bowl from the NFC, or at least make the NFC Championship. And
I would put the Green Bay a little slight mini tier above those, though.
I don't, man. I
think Green Bay is really good.
Whoever wins the NFC West also has just as equal, really, of a chance. Yeah. I actually, you're going to call me a homer here, but I do actually think the Bucs, because they're going to be likely the 3 seed, have the 3rd best chance of making the Super Bowl out of the NFC teams.
They're not better than Green Bay.
I think if you have Green Bay and Tampa at who's going to be favored in a game where Tampa's at home 3 versus 6 in the first round of the playoffs?
It's probably I think it would be a pick 'em.
I think Tampa would be favored by 2 points, to be honest.
Because if you're giving 3 or 4 points for home field, I think the market would view Green Bay 2 to 3 points better.
I think on a neutral field, Green Bay be a 1 or 2 point favorite. So it would probably be Tampa as a 1 or 2 point favorite on a home field. That would be my inkling. And for what it's worth, we kind of own the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see.
Dominate them.
Yeah, we'll see. Real talk too. In terms of the Nico Collins here, for example, it would be very beneficial for Houston, like you predicted here, if the Ravens were to win the AFC North. Because if the Ravens win the AFC North, they would get the Steelers in round 1. And I mean, again, I am more of a believer in the Chiefs, but I know you aren't as much of a believer. Yeah. But I will agree with you. If I had the choice of a semifinal in the AFC of playing either Baltimore, Buffalo, or KC would be the team I'd want to pick of those 3.
Really, eh?
Because I think the Bills and the Ravens just have more firepower on both ends of the ball.
They do, for sure. So do you want to go AFC side here?
I'm down to go
either had fallen, that would have been really good, obviously. We could grab Collins here and Mixon if you want to.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with doing that. Yeah.
We could also grab an NFC. We could grab Aaron Jones and Hawkinson or whatever if we wanted to. I just don't really buy like I'm kind of just fading the Vikings making a deep run. I just don't think they're that good. Like
in this scenario too, the Texans are the 4 seed, the Bills are the 2 seed. They wouldn't play till the AFC Championship.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, if the Bills hold the 2 and the Texans hold the 4, presumably the only way they would play each other is that if whatever AFC North team loses the division, won in the first round of the playoffs against, who, but they'd be playing the Texans. So that would shoot that scenario anyways.
Yeah. By the way, really big fan of this team.
Yeah, this is a nice looking squad, man. This is a nice looking squad. We just need to figure out how we're going to fashion an NFC contender here. And my vote would be for Tampa. I think that's the best option that we can go after right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be cool with that. When's Goddard scheduled to come back?
He was put on IR, I think 2 weeks ago. So I think he would be scheduled to come back week 17 or week 18. I think he would be fine, especially because I'm projecting the Eagles to get the bye. I think he would be fine for the divisional round of the playoffs.
Because what I'm thinking here is we got week 1 players with Buffalo, with Houston. Even if we wanted to take a stab on a bye week player that's maybe undervalued, I'd be cool with that. Yeah, the Eagles would be nice because even if it's not Goddard, I'm sure like a late round Dotson or like Gainwell or something like that could correlate. But we'll see what happens again.
Do we have any more Bills that we need to go after? Because Coleman falling here would also, like, if we could double tap Coleman and Goddard, or did Goddard go already? Is he still here?
Goddard's there.
Okay, Goddard, and if Goddard's gone, we could go Evans and pivot to a Buccaneers thing if we need to.
For sure.
Evans went, so this
yeah.
guy's, I mean, I don't think that's throw-outable, maybe. I don't know. Kenny Pickett at 105 is insane. Maybe he's trying to Galbrain a Jalen Hurts injury. I don't know.
But then again, why would you take Pickett at the 105?
Yeah, that's true.
I'll be upset if this draft gets thrown out, for the record. I would be.
Yeah, I also would be upset if this draft got thrown out too.
Yeah, there's just people that got to ruin it for everyone, I guess.
I will say it would be kind of hard to resist Addison and Hawkinson here.
No, not Keon.
I think it would be kind of hard to resist Addison and Hawkinson here. If Hawk is still on the board. I think he is. I think he goes later than this.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that too. Kincaid is available though.
I just don't want the Vikings. I hate them. We should grab Kincaid here. I think
that's what I'm saying. We should grab Kincaid. Then I'm cool. Literally, you want to go Kincaid? Goddard,
no Evans too. Like, we could go Reed. We could grab Packers.
We could do that. I was gonna say, what about Kincaid and Goddard? Because we have round 1 right now.
Yeah, you're right. We do have round 1. The only problem is we're going to have to Galbrain like a Kenneth Gainwell or a Jahan Dotson or something with our other Eagles players. But if we're going to be safe in the other rounds, so even if we only need to use those Eagles come NFC Championship and Super Bowl, that's probably our best case scenario there. So
plus, too, we have a lot of the expensive Bills. Even if we go cheaper on a team like the Eagles and make the bet that they made the Super Bowl, then I mean, we're still in a good spot regardless because we have very good Bills.
Yeah, I think it's also very important. I think one of the underrated things about like why personally I'm going to be fading Kansas City, for example, in these drafts is how do these teams get?
He's good. He's good.
Yeah, go Goddard. Yeah. How do these teams get to the Super Bowl as well? Like, because if the Bucs went on a Super Bowl run, like it's because of their offense that they went on a Super Bowl run. If the Texans go on a Super Bowl run, it would probably be because of Joe Mixon, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So that's why I'm like thinking.
And Nico Collins.
And Nico Collins. Yeah. Like we're playing through the scenarios of like, if these teams get hot at the right time, how do they win games? Because defense first teams, maybe that would be good. If Kansas City goes on a run and they're
it's hard to advance those though.
Yeah. It's hard to advance those. But if you do advance a Kansas City team, my opinion would be like, if you don't have Pacheco, like you're probably screwed.
Yeah. If you don't have Kelsey, if you don't have...
I would, honestly, if I'm building out Kansas City teams, I'm going Pacheco and cheap receivers if I do it.
There's one receiver I'd be willing to buy in on, and that would be Hopkins, just because when we get to a playoff scenario, I can totally see Casey just relying on those trusty old vets.
Yeah, for sure. We got a couple people in the chat here. A little quiet in the chat lately, but hey, fellas, hope you're having a good one. Appreciate the support through the season. Appreciate that. And then Mike says, thanks for getting me on Jacobs. He's on one of my advancing BBM5 teams. Yeah, unfortunately, he is a little bit chalky, but he is definitely a great projection going forward here.
What is the point per game average difference now between Jacobs and Derrick Henry? I need to check this.
Jacobs, since week 8, is the RB1 in fantasy.
It's fucking hilarious because midway through the year, I'm like, ooh, that takes not aging the greatest for me. And now you go to PPR points per game. Derrick Henry is at 18.6
Well,
and
man.
Jacobs is at 17.9 with
Yeah.
2 games left or
Okay.
3 games
We
left.
gotta focus up here on the clock. If Kyron falls, dude,
I'm cool with it.
we got to take Kyron here. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Don't take him yet. We have Philly.
Yeah. The thing is, we would have to be playing
if the
this.
Rams have the 3 or the 4 seed, they're probably not likely to play Philly until at least the divisional round.
We would be making the bet that the Packers beat the Bucks in the first round in this scenario. Because then the Rams could play the Eagles in the NFC Championship.
Yeah. Yeah. Or we make the bet that Tampa stumbles a little bit and the Rams end up with the 3 seed as well.
Yeah. Okay. I'm cool with that. And then we can go.
We got to take up then, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think obviously some of the balancing act that you have to make a little bit here is like, if Buffalo gets the 1 seed, like we're fucked. But like, you kind of just have to be okay with that if you're drafting early teams, in my opinion. Like there's no actual point of us drafting Jaden Daniels late in this draft, just in case the Bills get the 1 seed or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that seems like a wasted player. I've heard Karain describe it as when you wake up on Super Bowl Sunday, are you going to feel good about your team if you wasted a 1st round pick on or a 10th round pick or a 9th round pick on Jaden Daniels or a quarterback to try and get you through? You're not going to feel good about that.
No.
The only way that you can galaxy brain yourself into thinking that's a good idea is if Allen just has a massive stinker somehow, but the Bills win the game.
Exactly.
But then it's like you're really playing for like a less like how would the Bills win a playoff game without Allen having a good game? Like that's like a gal brain scenario.
Also, is it a wild take if I say I almost prefer Ty Johnson to Ray Davis in a playoff setting? Because he's getting receiving usage and being worked beside James Cook.
Yeah, I think both of them are. Okay, Ray Davis is still on the board, but Ty Johnson's gone already, I'm pretty sure.
He's gone?
Yeah, I think someone took him already.
Let's see this. Ty Johnson. Wow. Okay, yeah, fair play. Dude, his receiving usage next to James Cook in that lineup has been insane.
To be honest, I think it's a little bit recency biasy to take somebody like that.
I think that's fair.
I don't think we definitely don't need Stafford.
Eagles receiver?
I think we take Davis. Actually, no, we have Cook. We're probably good without Davis.
I think an Eagles receiver.
Why don't we take Mac Hollins?
We do Mac Hollins. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Let's take Mac Hollins.
Is Jahan Dotson on the board? Oh, there is Grant Cal, but we already made the bet.
Dotson's on the board. Yeah.
We could go Dotson or we could go Mac Hollins. I would let you make the pick here.
We have two. Do we only have 1 pick left?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take Hollins, honestly.
Okay, let's do it.
Because that gives us the out. If we take Hollins, then we have the out for a Rams Super Bowl as well. But I'd rather just mega stack the Bills anyways.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
Like, so my opinion, when
that's
we look over the team, this is a really good team. Hopefully it doesn't get tossed, like you said. My opinion, when you look over your team, I don't subscribe to the idea that you want as many players live in the Super Bowl as possible. I get that last year, for example, and I know this because I was in the final, I think it was 16 people tied for first place, and they all got $14,000 each because they had duped lineups because it was challenging to get I think both 1 seeds made the Super Bowl, right? San Fran and Kansas City?
Yeah.
Was San Fran the 1 seed on the NFC side?
They were both the 1 seeds, yeah.
Yeah, so it was inherently going to be difficult to get a team to the Super Bowl when both 1 seeds made it because you were going to have to burn players and you only had probably 5 or 6 guys live for the Super Bowl. But in my opinion, you'd rather have your nutted game where like you have 5 or 6 or maybe 7, 8 players if you're lucky in the Super Bowl than you would rather have to be nutted in the first round because you needed like you tried to advance 2 1 seeds out and you need all 5 of your first round players to hit the nuts. To me, it's like I'd rather need a nutted scenario when I have less players. I get it. It's leverage if you have 8 players live and you have every player that everybody in the field has.
The odds of you actually advancing to that stage in that scenario is very minimal, especially when you're let's just say, for example, you drafted 2 1 seed players and I'm trying to think like if we're in the AFC, maybe you drafted DeAndre Hopkins or Isaiah Pacheco and you drafted them over Puka Nacua. That team that has Puka Nacua is probably going to have a guy that's producing 20 to 25 half PPR points. Were the Chiefs not the 1 seed? Right. No, they were the 2 seed because the Ravens were. My apologies.
Right. So the Chiefs were the 1 seed, but the 49ers were the 1 seed in the NFC. So it was still difficult to get to the Super Bowl regardless. And that's the challenging part, is that you have to play the balancing act a little bit of, yes, you want, in an ideal world, 10 players live in the Super Bowl, but that is probably only going to work if neither 1 seed in either conference makes the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
If you look at the NFL landscape in today's market, and you say, yeah, one of the 1 seeds is going to make the Super Bowl on either conference, then in my opinion, you should be aiming for 7, 8, 9 players max in the Super Bowl. Because if you think a 1 seed is going to make it, then you probably shouldn't be drafting it. The year that a 5x5 worked was the year that the Rams and Bengals were in the Super Bowl.
We just
Let's
got
go.
1-1.
Yeah, there we go.
And by the way, I'm fine getting cute like 2 on, but to me, Josh Allen is just so clearly the 101 in playoff best ball, man.
An absolute hammer.
Like,
I also think that the Eagles will be the 1 seed.
Agreed.
Based on their remaining schedule. So to me, I don't even actually think that Barkley should be 102. I think Gibbs should be 102.
Agreed. And not to mention, I mean, just on a per game basis with no Monty, bro, I think Gibbs has a higher weekly ceiling pretty comfortably. And again, that's no discredit to Barkley, because obviously look at what he's done this year. But if you told me Gibbs half PPR, 23 to 25 points per game in the playoff run, would you be shocked?
No, I wouldn't be. And we don't have full confirmation that Montgomery would never come back for the rest of the playoffs. Like, let's say hypothetically,
he tore his MCL. He tore his MCL. He's probably out.
You think he's cooked completely?
Torn MCL, bro. You're not coming back within 2 months.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, what if the Lions made the Super Bowl? Would he be able to come back for that game kind of thing?
Here, let me just search it for reference. Torn MCL recovery.
He's getting surgery, I think, as well.
So if he's getting surgery, that sounds like it's going to be a grade 3, which would be a severe tear. You would be able to only put limited weight on the leg for 4 to 6 weeks, and you'll most likely need close to 8 to recover. So like 2 months.
Yeah, I think Montgomery's a warrior. He may be able to return for the Super Bowl, but even then, he probably wouldn't be himself. So I would imagine that's not a likely scenario that Montgomery disrupts Gibbs when it matters most, kind of thing.
Yeah, like just scary scenario, man.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on the Are you tending to think that Craig Reynolds or Sione Vaki are now live picks here? Or
I've told you this off camera. Sione Vaki, if you look at his game logs from Utah last year, because again, I remember watching him when I was watching Utah play. He was converted safety. They had injuries at running back. They threw him in there. Dude, he had like 9 yards per touch and 5 touchdowns on like 50 total touches last year as a converted safety playing running back.
Yeah, that's insane.
Dude, he was electric, and he returned fucking kicks. Like, he was like just 5'10", 210 pounds, built like a good runner. Like, I don't know, man. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah. No, he's an exciting player for sure. I mean, we probably have to take James Cook
if he makes it here. Let's hope.
If he makes it here, we got to take him. But if he doesn't make here, we probably take Smitty, right?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So we take Smitty here.
Yeah, Smitty and Shakir. Or we could go with an Eagle.
Technically, we could stack up a Chief. We could take Pacheco as well. Because the Chiefs and Bills are not seeing each other until the AFC Championship. I'd be more down for Smith and Pacheco personally.
Yeah, if you want to experiment with it, we could do that.
Yeah, and then we kind of need to all in the Eagles on the NFC side of things if we're going AFC is Chiefs and Bills on a crash course to the AFC Championship, which, to be honest, I tend to think actually is the case in the AFC anyways.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's probably likely that these two teams just play each other in the AFC Championship. Only this time, I think the Bills will actually get over the hump.
Yeah, let's hope so. That'd be fucking great. I mean, maybe we play this. Hopefully, we can play this through Amari Cooper this time.
Yeah, that would be nice. Cooper's a difficult one because I tend to just want Cooper, even though some people I've heard people in the best ball sphere galaxy brain themselves out of Cooper because he's not getting the snaps. I'm like, I think everybody's forgetting pretty quickly that the Bills may be just ramping Cooper up still, and also
that's the thing too.
Cooper, how many games in his NFL career has he dropped 40 points? A couple. Like
Yeah.
he could be the absolute skeleton key. If you don't have him, you can't advance out of one of these games. Like he could have, 3 touchdowns and 180 yards in the divisional round or something.
Can you remind me of what happened on my BBM team last year in week 16 that got me to the final?
What do you have, like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on Thursday night?
Scored like 50 points.
He had 50 points.
Yeah. He does go here, but at the same time, where can we go? I mean, maybe Kincaid plus Hopkins, hopefully. We need a pass catcher for Allen, 100%.
Again, another thing we could do here is we could take Smitty as our only like one-off Eagle and hope that the Eagles make the NFC Championship and pivot to Detroit on the NFC side.
We could. I think we do need to take a Bills pass catcher though. Because
we can, but we have 2 picks. So I'm thinking we take Laporta and Kincaid here.
Laporta, yeah, either Laporta and Kincaid or Hopkins and Kincaid. I'm cool for.
Yeah,
because we have Pacheco.
Yeah, we do have Pacheco. You're right. But presumably that's going to die at the AFC Championship, whereas Laporta could be in the Super Bowl for us. And Kincaid, I think we should go Laporta with our second pick just because there is ancillary Chiefs pass catchers we can grab instead of Hopkins as well.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Whereas the Lions, like Spicy said it in the chat too, it's like without Montgomery, do they just pass the ball more? Like if they pass the ball more, in my opinion, there is no bigger beneficiary than Sam Laporta if they pass the ball more.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, St. Brown obviously would see a bump and JMO would see a bump, but like Laporta has been kind of the one left out in the cold when they don't throw the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I'm like, and this also gives us 2 outs. If like Dotson or Goddard are available, we could go back to the Eagles. And, also I just feel comfortable that these 4 teams are probably just the best in the in the NFL.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Finding a way to get this
the wild card for me
championship is actually like the favorite according to Vegas for these 2 teams to each make the conference title games.
And I know this isn't going like crazy, like off the board, but like the only one that could maybe jeopardize it would be the Ravens. But we already invested in Josh Allen at 101, so we're thinking they beat the Ravens in round 2 because otherwise you're not drafting Josh Allen in round 1.
I mean, obligatory Buccaneers fan comment that we beat both the Lions and Eagles on the road this year, but yeah, it's interesting. I'm not gonna mess around with the Bucs too much. I think this wave of like me and you are going to Buffalo in early January, and that's when we're gonna get most of our teams in. And I think that's when I'm just gonna hyper stack my Bills or my Bucs bags. I think.
Yeah, I think that's a smart way to play it too, especially because you're pretty much hoping that it's anybody but Green Bay in the 6th seed right now, right? Like you're hoping Washington fucking jumps them.
To be honest, I'm not that scared of Green Bay. I actually am. To be honest, I just don't really want to play Minnesota.
Really?
I think Minnesota has a really big coaching advantage, which is I think our biggest weakness. Especially
so does LaFleur though.
Bowles versus O'Connell seems like a bit of a mismatch to me.
But
LaFleur is a great coach too, but we've historically dominated that team.
Fair. Okay.
When they've been under LaFleur, like we beat the crap out of them every time we play them.
Do you want to go with X here?
Yeah, Worthy's got to be the pick, I think.
Yeah.
We do.
Now, before you pick here, Spicy, let's just take a look at where we
need a Bills running back or a running back from an NFC team as well at some point because we won't have a running back in the Super Bowl.
Good point.
With Pacheco.
I mean, we're going to have to. I mean, is this a Sione Vaki team?
I mean, it could be.
It could be.
I wouldn't be opposed to stacking up 2 of those guys like Gainwell and Vaki or Gainwell and Reynolds or something like that. We don't have to probably do that until our next pick, though.
Do you want to go here? Is Tim Patrick a weird?
Yeah, I would go Patrick here as well. Yeah, I think that's a good play. That's a good shout. Could go Hollywood as well, potentially, but that seems like overkill.
Yeah, but we already made the bet on the Bills.
Yeah, I think it's overkill on the Chiefs if we do that.
Agreed.
Okay, so wide receiver wise,
let's just count scenario, right? So we have 2 Bills right now. We're gonna need at least 1, possibly 2 more Bills. Also, my camera is just frozen. Why do I look so shocked?
You are absolutely shocked. We also, one other scenario we may need to prepare for is getting a running back round 1 piece because Pacheco will be on a bye, presumably, in this scenario.
Why is my... Okay, here.
So one thing that might be appealing is, Brian Robinson or Bucky Irving, or actually Bucky's already gone, Rashad White or somebody that we know is going to be in the playoffs that's going to give us a running back piece. Maybe Aaron Jones is still on the board. I don't know. I guess we could just play for the scenario that whatever Gainwell / whatever. I can't hear you for some reason. Anyways, just keep figuring it out. I think Gainwell absolutely has to be our next pick here. No questions asked.
Completely tossing. First, my camera stops working and I stop being able to hear you.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. Do we double tap RB here? Oh, Gainwell just went. Fuck. Okay, we got to go Ty Johnson.
Is Ty Johnson available?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, yeah, we need to take him here, unfortunately.
Is Ray Davis gone?
He just went right now.
Okay, so Ray Davis went. That'd be unfortunate.
Ty Johnson plus an early round piece.
We need, I think we might need a one-off Brian Robinson or Najee Harris to get out of the first round, to be honest.
What other running backs are available other than those two?
We could take, actually, no, Hunt's on the Chiefs.
Reynolds.
We could go Dobbins, Rashad White, somebody that gets us out of round one. Rashad White probably a good option too.
Yeah, Rashad White's a good option.
Okay, so we grab Ty with one of these.
And that would take us to 3 Bills. We have 2 Lions. We have 1 Eagle. So we'd probably need one more Eagle as a running back.
Double tap too, where we could grab our final pick running back with the last pick, or we could grab them now and just grab a late.
I think Ty Johnson has to be one of them here.
Yeah, no, he does, but we have 2 picks here. So
right, sorry, my bad.
Do we want to grab like Brian Robinson right now to get our early pick running back, and then we'll just take a swing on a Bills receiver or something with our last pick?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. We probably need either, a Bills receiver, a Lions receiver, or an Eagles receiver as the final pick.
Yeah, I would say presumably we need a Lions receiver, I think, because we have 2 Lions as opposed to 1 Eagle.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, so B-Rob, we basically, I mean, they're going to be playing against the Lions, which is not ideal. In our scenario, that would be their first round matchup, which is why I almost would have maybe preferred we grab Rashad White or Najee, just because their matchups might have been easier, because we kind of need to think about who they're going to face in the first round, and are they likely to have a big game? Whereas Brian Robinson against the Lions, I don't know if that's like the greatest pick, but I guess you just hope he has 2 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah, Austin, I do agree with this too. I just think it's very unlikely at this point that the Falcons make the playoffs.
I don't think the Falcons are going to make it. So according to our sheet here, the Falcons' likelihood of making the playoffs is definitely like solid enough that you could definitely take swings on them. It's 31%, 23% that they win the division. Given Tampa's playing the Cowboys, who they're 4-point road favorites against, the Panthers, who they're going to be probably a touchdown favorite against, and New Orleans.
You guys are winning at minimum week 17 and 18, and then
we would have to lose 2 of those 3 games, not just 1. We would have to lose 2 of them, because the Falcons have to play the Commanders on the road in week 17, and they might lose that game. So if the Falcons had only cupcakes, I mean, they have the Giants and Panthers at home, so those are pretty easy matchups. But I don't anticipate that Penix is going to just scorch the earth when he comes out. Maybe I'll be wrong about that, but
do we want to take Sione Vaki on this team? Because it didn't say pass catcher versus receiver or versus running back specifically.
Well, you have to start 2 wide receivers plus a flex. Like the way the starting roster works, I think it may be overkill to have 4 RBs.
That's a good point.
That would be my only qualm with it.
But I'm just thinking, because we have 1 running back that's like we would be betting on making the Super Bowl here. Like we could always just play the second running back as the flex.
Yeah, that's true. We could. And also, like, what are the chances that Ty Johnson has a great game in the Super Bowl too? Like, it's possible we might want 2 bullets at that position. What other wide receiver options do we have? Do we have a Bills receiver?
Not really much here. Matt Collins is off the board, I believe, right?
Curtis Samuel. I'd rather play Curtis Samuel.
Or Knox. I actually like Knox the most because Kincaid's been banged. We already have Kincaid, right?
I would rather have Samuel, to be honest. I think Samuel's the best option here.
Let's do it then.
Yeah, let's go with Curtis Samuel here.
Let's do it then.
Gave Spicy a little bit of a shock there at the end. But
how do you feel about Ladd tomorrow night versus Denver? Ladd is one of the receivers like an Amon or St. Brown, where it's like, even though you're looking at the cornerback matchup on the other end and it's kind of daunting, knowing inherently how he's used, how he's schemed open into the slot, how he's used in motion, you're not really worried about a pure cornerback matchup as you would, let's just say, a George Pickens, a pure X wide receiver.
Yeah. So I think a couple things I just want to point out before we do. Probably you got time for one more here, Spicy? Before we do one more, structurally, I kind of want to point out that for sure, when you draft Josh Allen, like there's absolutely no point of drafting a second quarterback unless you're
No.
galaxy braining yourself into a Josh Allen stinker, but the Bills somehow win. That would be the only reason. Or if you think the Bills are like the Chiefs are going to troll the next couple of weeks and the Bills get the 1 seed.
Well,
but
that's the
then
thing.
You shouldn't be playing for that scenario.
If you think the Chiefs are going to troll the next 2 weeks and the Bills become the 1 seed, just wait until the Bills are the 1 seed, because then the Bills will be a lot cheaper comparatively.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't be drafting now if that's the case.
Yeah.
But structurally, I think we got
the only leverage to drafting now is in the scenario like we were talking about. If you're drafting Lions when the market is completely convinced that they're going to be the 1 seed, and a team like the Eagles or the Vikings could jump them.
Yeah, and I think this week has even corrected itself a little bit already because the Lions lost and the Vikings won and the Eagles won. So that's the Rams, Spicy Hot said in the chat there, I think is a good,
I like them.
Good shout as well. So structurally, we got on that team, we got how many Bills? We got 4 Bills, 2 Chiefs, 1 Eagle, 2 Lions. So we have an out that we would have 7 players in the Super Bowl if it was Bills Lions, and 6 players in the Super Bowl if it was Bills Eagles, which is exactly what you want there. And also too, those are just good teams to invest in. And then this one we got, what is that, 5 Bills?
That team is fucking insane.
This team is really good. 5 Bills, 2 Texans, and 2 Rams, 1 Eagles. So we could fill a starting lineup, no problem, in the Super Bowl if it was Bills Eagles or Bills Rams. Rams would be probably more ideal because we have better projections with Kyron and Cup.
And if you told me the Rams made the Super Bowl, like you said, like a Bucks, like a Green Bay, like I wouldn't be shocked. Honestly,
if you're trying to gal brain scenarios this time of year, this is the time to do it. And like when you're trying to get, if you think the Packers are going on a run, or if you think the
Rams literally beat the Bills last week.
Bucks are going on a run, the Commanders are going on a run. This is the time to draft those teams because the market is scared to draft those teams right now because they don't know their seeding, and they're usually only going to be excited about drafting teams that have already clinched playoff spots and so on and so forth. So let's rip another one here.
Real quick, I want to point something out. Since their week 6 bye, the Rams, they have gone, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've gone 7-2 in their last 9 games.
Who has?
The Rams.
Yeah, no, they've been really good the last couple of weeks. So we got the 104, so we're going to get a little bit more texture here.
Okay. I like Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I like, again, with the Lions throwing the ball more, based on the projections I have here, I think the Lions won't keep the 1 seed. I think they will have the 2 seed. Yeah.
So we're fading Eagles pretty much in this.
Yeah.
Based on their
I'm gonna draft the Eagles. It's just when we're in Buffalo in January.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Right now we'd be fading the Eagles because the market's treating them like the 2 seed. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So it's unfortunate maybe that we drafted Smitty and whatnot, but like, I don't know. I don't think Smitty would get much more expensive than that.
Agreed.
Cheaper, sorry.
Yeah, it's like what? Maybe he goes from 13th ADP to like 18th.
Yeah. I still can't believe we got Kyron falling like 10.5 picks too.
13
picks. Yeah, that's
35 crazy. ADP. We got him at 48.
Even if you just get 2 games out of Kyron, like he's gonna. If the Rams beat the Vikings, first of all, the Vikings are just not that good, and I'm fading them right now too because some people are, getting excited about them.
Like he would have tough matchups. Don't get me wrong. Like he would either have to be. I mean, the goated scenario is both the Rams and the Vikings winning their first round matchups because that would send the Rams to the Lions. Which, as we know with the Lions, their EPA on defense in the last few weeks since all of their injuries, they were first in EPA in the first 13 weeks. And between weeks 14 and 15, they were the 31st. Yes, easily.
Gibbs 104 is a nice one here. So we're playing this again. What we just talked about. If you're drafting early, you got to think about the scenarios that you're drafting for and how do you get an edge. The edge right now is that the Lions are currently holding the number 1 seed of the NFC, and we're going to draft this team as if they lose it.
Yeah. Exactly. A Amon-Ra falling would have been nice, but that was never happening.
Yeah. And the reason I think they're going to lose it, first of all, is that they have a more difficult schedule. They have 2 straight road games, the Bears and the 49ers, and then they face the Vikings in week 18 at home. They could lose 1 or 2 of those games. The Eagles are 4-point favorites against the Commanders this week, but then they have the Cowboys and Giants at home after that. It's more likely to me that the Eagles win out than it is the Lions win out. That's why I think they might lose the seed.
By the way, assuming Goff makes it here, we take Goff, right?
Yeah, we got to take off if he makes it.
Agreed. Hopefully he doesn't. Thank God.
Okay, that's good. We could also, hopefully, I was going to say we had to take a quarterback there, so we didn't really have a choice. But getting Henry or Hank's not Jacobs. We need something on the AFC side of things. Ideally, we could play the Texans potentially if we want to. Worst case scenario, but I would like to try and be able to do this around the Bills or the Chiefs if we can.
I would love to as well.
The Chiefs would be really hard because they have the bye right now too. So we would be playing for both the scenario in which they both have byes.
I'd be okay with the Ravens too. That would be the third AFC team if I had to pick a third.
Or actually, sorry, we're playing this as if the Lions don't have a bye. So we don't have to draft the second quarterback if we don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just more so talking about the Super Bowl matchup. Like,
yeah, I got myself mixed up there for a second.
Ideally, we would want Bills and Chiefs because, like, I do think those are the two best teams in the AFC. But for me personally, if those two weren't going to make it, I think the only team in the AFC that can make the Super Bowl is the Ravens.
I think the Texans could do it if Mixon. You
need Stroud to play him a lot better.
To have Mixon, there was no way the Texans would make a Super Bowl run without Mixon going off.
Agreed. Love my boy Nico, but
yeah.
Just
I mean, Stroud is capable of playing better, obviously, but I just think the way that their offense is currently
this has to be Jameson Williams,
Jameson Williams, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you be at all shocked?
We could take Kelsey if we wanted to, but I think it would have to be Jameson Williams.
Would you at all be shocked if Jameson Williams had the Gabe Davis type of game?
No, or the Jake Ferguson game or whatever it was.
Holy fuck! What do you have? Like 70 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game? Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. If Kelsey falls here, we have to take him, in my opinion, over Laporta. If Kelsey falls. But if Kelsey does not fall here, do we take Laporta or do we try and go back to the AFC and go for Amari Cooper or Mixon or somebody like that, or Hopkins or somebody like that?
I'm cool going Laporta because we know that outside of Amon-Ra, we basically just have the Lions
we got to take Kelsey here. So
yeah, take Kelsey. And then hopefully we can get Hopkins or Worthy. That would be really nice.
Yeah, if we can get Hopkins or Worthy, then we're playing for a Lions Chiefs Super Bowl, which would be probably the most divided America would ever be on. Actually, not divided. Everybody would be rooting for Detroit. Yeah, so
for sure,
it would be pretty wild to see a Lions Chiefs David versus Goliath type of Super Bowl.
So Spicy, put the 3 players in the queue as Laporta, Hopkins, and Worthy.
Yeah,
so we need one of those 3.
So
Laporta, Worthy.
And then once again, we could play it back through Buffalo if Cooper makes it to us too.
We just need to fade. We need one of these guys to fade them. Yeah. Oh my God.
We might also, this is the type of team, I think, Danny, that we could maybe even just have Gibbs only at running back.
I agree.
We could literally just go hero running back Gibbs. And
not many Lions teams are going to have one running back right now.
At least not the ones that have this texture of ADP that are drafting right now.
Exactly. That's
obviously this team is torched if the Lions get the bye, but you have to be kind of willing to do that. Laporta would be really fucking nice there.
I really like, dude. Worthy's usage since the bye week has been really nice. Now, obviously,
Worthy over Cooper 100% here.
Well, we have Kelsey.
Probably makes sense. Yeah.
So we'll build it out like a Lions Chiefs Super Bowl. Now, it is unfortunate the Chiefs are going to get the 1 seed, so we're probably done drafting our Super Bowl matchup because, I mean, we do have 5 players here. We have as nutted of a scenario as you possibly could get outside of having Amon or St. Brown. So from now on, like, what can we get to get these players through the Super Bowl? I think we got to focus on the immediate projections.
Yeah, I think taking a detour,
maybe 1 more,
maybe 2 detours would be fine. For a great projection here.
Yeah.
We don't. I'm cool. We're drafting just Goff here. Like this is we're rolling with just Goff, right? We're not going with a second quarterback.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I think taking advantage of the texture that the Lions don't get the bye. How much more expensive does Goff become? Like, are you getting him 109 if the Lions don't get a bye? Like, you're probably having to pay 106 or 107 for him.
100%.
If the Lions don't have a bye.
I agree.
And Gibbs is the 102 in that case, in which case it's impossible to get those 2 on the same team.
Do we want to grab Jordan Addison here for the 1 week?
I would be okay grabbing Kincaid for the 1 week instead, because then that would then play to the AFC side too.
Yeah, we could do that too.
I think Addison's a better projection probably though. So if you want to get
we did get some nice texture on it too because he's 6 picks past ADP.
Yeah, let's go with Addison. He's a better projection than Kincaid.
Yeah. On top of that Vikings, too, you guys are scheduled to actually no correction. The Rams are scheduled to play the Vikings, and that has the makings of a potential shootout. Maybe Addison's the skeleton piece you need to advance the teams that you have with bye week players like Kelsey and Worthy.
Yeah, I think at minimum you're going to get 2 games out of Minnesota, and there would be a scenario in which it's a Minnesota-Detroit NFC championship. It would just be more challenging because if Detroit is the 2 seed, that means that Minnesota is probably the 5 seed still. And Detroit and Minnesota could actually, no, they would actually probably be on a crash course to not play each other, assuming that Tampa lost to Green Bay in the first round.
Can I make one shout, by the way? I do think maybe we should get a 2 running back build just for texture reasons in case Gibbs has one down game in the playoffs and then you have somebody that can get you through.
I think it's more textured to have only one running back and just assume that Gibbs is like going to be a horse for you. But we could, the only running back I think that actually fits this team really well that we could grab is Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool too.
Okay, so what do we want to do here? Do we want to grab Patrick?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. And then we
Hollywood. We could go Hollywood too.
I think we should go Patrick because Hollywood's on the bye too.
Yeah,
and we have Worthy, right. And we're like, it's almost like we made the bet on Worthy is like almost making the bet against Marquise, I would say.
I don't think that's necessarily the case because I think if we grabbed Hollywood with this team, we would still have what is that? JMO, Addison, Patrick in the first round, and then because we grab Hollywood, we could grab like a straight up good week 1 projection.
Aaron Jones isn't still available, is he?
I don't think so. Okay. I can't imagine so.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming he's probably
Hawkinson is.
Oh, 22.6. Okay. Yeah, I mean Hawkinson's another really good shout here.
Like
what are the odds? The Lions, it's very unlikely. Oh, actually, it's probably likely that the Lions
we could
Vikings, but maybe
hear me out too. The other thing we could play here too is that the Steelers hold the 3 seed and Pickens is an excellent week 1 projection.
I'd be cool with that. We're also getting really good texture here on him.
Or Najee even too, if you don't want to go with the running back or the receiver.
I'm cool going Pickens. I would prefer Pickens to Najee specifically because if we're looking at the matchup, if they do hold the 3 seed, the Chargers are a pass funnel defense. And even if they fall to a 5 seed, I mean, the Texans are a solid pass defense. They could reasonably beat run defense
too as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They would be playing the Chiefs after that, which would suck. But if they hold the 3 seed, they're also not likely to play the Chiefs until the NFC or the AFC Championship.
Yeah,
if they do hold the 3 seed,
for sure. So we're probably done at pass.
We're done for 1 week projections. There's no need for us to take any more of those. We got
let's try to get our correlators.
We got Addison and Pickens for that.
So we don't have Bills, so we're basically making the anti-Bills bet, which is fine considering we made heavy Bills bets on the first 2 teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Hunt on the board?
That would be my direction too.
Can't imagine. Probably he is.
Wow. Yeah, put him in.
Kareem Hunt would be a perfect running back for this.
We also, in the last team, made an Isaiah Pacheco bet. So
yeah,
that's not bad.
This Hunt would be perfect for this team because then we would have how many players live in the Super Bowl if it was Lions Chiefs? We'd have 3 Chiefs and 4 Lions. 7. Yeah. And then we could also grab one more Lion if we need to.
Do we want to grab Hunt here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to risk it.
Kind of crazy that Najee fell though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, if he falls again, I'm cool taking him. Honestly, what's Jaylen Warren's ADP relative to Najee? Feels like there's the 20 pick divide for them just feels too steep for me.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we can take Harris too if he falls again and play
for texture. I agree.
Chiefs Lions and for Steelers Lions as well.
Yeah, like for the record, like if Najee wants to fall to the last round and we're getting him at what is that 57 overall, like just from a textured perspective, how far is this ADP actually even going to fall? Even if the Steelers became the 6th seed in the early 40s, you're still getting a 2-round buffer there, 3-round buffer.
That would be a disgusting Super Bowl, Spicy.
Right? What do you say?
The other thing too is if you guys do really think that the NFL is like really wide open this year and there's no good teams and whatever, like get weird, man. Like make a Packers fucking Texans Super Bowl. Like this is the year. If you think it's not consensus and like maybe the 1 seeds are weak or whatever, we saw 2 years ago in 2021 or whatever, we had the anyways, we'll make our pick first.
This is another thing, by the way. I get it, better team. I just don't see how you could take a Will Shipley over Najee Harris. I can't get there.
Or do we take Hawkinson?
Najee, because we have 2 running backs.
We also have Addison too.
I'll let you make the call here.
Let's take
Harris as well.
It's crazy value on him. Let's just take Harris.
I think that's where I'm at with it too. It's like we got almost a 20 pick fucking discount on him, dude.
Yeah, we also got how many we get in Pickens too? We got 10 picks on Pickens too.
That's so unique.
Yeah, that's a really unique looking team. Like
now, question: do we have time for one more? Or are we cooked?
Yeah, I'll leave that up to Spicy. I have time for
Exactly.
one more, but if he doesn't have time for one more, we can end
If
it
you don't
off
have
there.
time, no, not a worry at all. Appreciate you for helping us. Let's rip it. Hey, let's go.
Let's
Hey,
go. We got one more in us. If you guys want to, also for what it's worth, I haven't mentioned it once, but if you guys do want to join us, all you have to do is go to the main menu that Spicy just went to and hit confirm on the gauntlet. And Tim says Buccaneers feels like a good advance rate team. Yeah, they definitely will be a good advance rate team, because if they win a game and that you get 2 games out of them, or maybe 3 games out of them, then you're looking at a great
new texture.
A great new texture indeed. You're looking at a great offensive scoring environment. Yeah. So I'm thinking the same thing probably.
Think about this too for Tampa. If they do end up getting the 3 seed, and hypothetically you're betting on them to win, right? They would have in the first round versus Green Bay, again, tougher defense, but you can it's Tampa Bay's offense. They're going to invite a shootout type of scenario there. And then you got the Lions in round 2.
You'd be going to Detroit or Philly potentially, but probably Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I was watching back that little rub you guys ran to fucking Free McMillan. That was one of the cleanest schemed rub wheels I've ever seen. Like the way you guys did it, like he went stemmed vertically.
I know.
Your 2 receivers fucking crashed in, and then he just went right under them. It's like, if you're a DB, how the fuck do you even guard that?
I know. I usually try and watch. Sometimes I don't do it when we lose, but when we win, I like to watch the condensed games.
Wait, pause.
What's up?
Look at the board. Oh, dude, I thought fucking Josh Allen fell to the 104 because that's what it was showing on our screen. Okay.
Okay. No, that would have been insane.
My bad.
Yeah, I like to watch the condensed Bucks games after. And also, like, Glazers, give a blank check to Liam. And if he doesn't want to be a head coach yet, give him whatever he wants. Tell him that you're going to make him the head coach in 2 years when Todd Bowles retires or whatever.
I got to call up Jerry.
Whatever he wants.
I got to call up, ring. Hey, Jerry. Whatever you have there, fucking unload the bag. This is your next head coach if you're actually fucking playing to win.
I still don't think he's like necessarily ready to be a head coach yet, which is why I think the ideal scenario, if I'm Liam, is to stay. And also too, like, for the love of God, let's get Mayfield playing in the same scheme for more than 1 season in his career too. He gets a new OC every single year.
Are we just playing the opposite side now of Amon Goff?
I'm like, St. Brown's definitely going to be one of these.
You could go Mahomes and then backdoor Kelsey and stuff, but he's also, that would make us have to draft 2 quarterbacks.
It would, yeah.
I kind of like
Henry too.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue is if we go Henry, who are we drafting? Lamar's already off the board.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
I think it's got to be Goff.
Yeah,
otherwise we're going to get locked out at quarterback.
Yeah, it's got to be Goff. You're right.
Which, I mean, again, like, yeah, sure, we're betting on the same.
I mean, dude, Lions and Bills, I'll stack bags of Lions and Bills. Like,
good teams to bet on for sure.
Yeah, like if we walked out of these 4 drafts that we did with like 3 Texans teams and 1 Packers team, I'd be like, fuck, we're screwed.
Yeah. No, again, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm going to knock on wood, but like these boards have been falling pretty nicely for us.
This is also correct, because if Tampa gets the 3 seed, which they are likely to get, they beat Green Bay and they go to Detroit, which they've won a game against Detroit already, first of all, this year. And also, too, that game is going berserk, for points. That game is going nuts. Tampa's defense is good enough to clamp up at times, but like more often than not, you're probably going to give up points.
Question I got, by the way, what do you think the over-under of a Lions-Washington Commanders game would be as well? That would be the first round? Because we've been betting on Lions. If they get the 2 seed, they'd play Washington in the first round. That game over-under would be like 54 points, 53 points.
I don't think the Vegas would respect Washington enough to give them that many.
Even with Lions injuries on defense?
I think the Lions would be like 5.5 point favorites or 6 point favorites against Washington in the first round, maybe more, maybe slightly more. And it would be like a 49.5 point over under, 50 point over under.
If I had to project it right now, I think they would probably have it. Lions implied for about 29.5. Commanders implied for about 22.5. Lions 7-point favorites.
Yeah, so that would be what, 53 points?
Yeah, 53 points. Yeah, 53. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Yeah.
Vegas, give us a call. So are we going to...
By the way, just from fucking making those wide receiver videos, I'm sure you can agree with the running back video, just seeing the implied lines of like certain teams each week, just like staying super constant, you kind of have a feel for how Vegas is going to evaluate them in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, and the matchups that matter videos, I always like get a feel for like the Vegas totals as well.
Because I talk about them a lot in the wide receiver rankings, and I literally like on my show sheet. Fun fact, actually, the weekly rankings manifesto. I'll literally just go see what the implied totals are, see if the lines change at all, and then just write that down. JMO falling would have been great.
Yeah,
but
I was thinking it was going to be good there. We grab Pacheco here, right?
Either Pacheco and Kelsey or Pacheco and Laporta.
Yeah, shit.
Kelsey, Laporta, like either two of those three guys. I'll let you make.
So Pacheco's got to be one of them because we'll need a running back.
I like that call because we don't have Gibbs.
Oh man, I think
maybe Pacheco Laporta is the tiebreaker because the Lions in this scenario wouldn't have a bye week, so we'd get one extra week out of them.
Yes, but I would like to find a way to get Kelsey in there if we could.
Fair. That's another good point.
Man. So I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Laporta is going to have a really good matchup against Washington week 1. Presumably the team that the AFC would be playing.
We were talking about this.
Let's go with Laporta.
What I was also going to say, we were just talking about this earlier. The way that the Chiefs make the Super Bowl is with their defense slowing the game down, Isaiah Pacheco. The way that the Lions make the Super Bowl is outscoring the fuck out of other teams. So if that's like a tiebreaker there.
The other tiebreaker too is outside of Gibbs, St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, how many, yes, Tim Patrick is getting some steam. Yes, Khalif Raymond could get some steam. How many ancillary receivers are there if you don't have those top guys? How many good weeks are you reasonably getting out of those guys? It's way more likely that Justin Watson catches a 40-yard touchdown than it is that Tim Patrick or
to be fair, Tim Patrick's been good.
Pretty good, but outside of Patrick, maybe because Patrick's also expensive now. He's not going cheap anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the other on top of that too. I mean, is it all that crazy to say you just wait on Noah Gray?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Is that Gray actually might just be a better option?
Yeah, I mean, and then you also got the implied scenario again. Knock on wood. I hope.
Where is Gray going right now?
Search up Noah Gray. Spencer. Spicy.
Spencer.
What the fuck? Why do I call it Spicy Spencer?
ADP 57.7.
What?
That's an absurd, dude. That is an absurd value. That is like he is guaranteed on this team. I wish I knew that last draft when we had Chiefs. I would have taken him then too.
Yeah, dude. There's no way he doesn't end up in the 30s or 40s by the end of this. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay, so Worthy's 1. We need a running back for round 1. Just keep that in mind. We don't have to take him yet.
We already saw Najee would fall, so I don't think we should take him.
No, we shouldn't take one until like at least our 8th round pick, I would think. So let's go Worthy with one of these.
We could go.
It's pretty unlikely that the Lions and Vikings would play each other, but we did do that last time.
Yeah, that's the thing. We could go Pickens as well because Pickens has big upside.
We could also take Goddard because we don't have an NFC title opposite team for the Lions.
Could also take Keon Coleman because the Bills.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's say Coleman. We also for what
Mike Evans.
We could take Evans too.
Yeah.
But Evans and the Lions are likely to play each other. So
yeah, that's the thing.
They would.
I like this
presumably be the second round matchup. That would be you get out of the first round, Evan gets you out of the second round. Like you're picking Evans strictly to get out of round 1 and 2, probably.
On top of that, it also opens us up for Ray Davis or Ty Johnson if we really need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be a Bills running back, by the way, because obviously the only running back we have right now is Pacheco. So
we could take 2 more running backs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like we could take Najee or whatever, and then take Ty Johnson or Ray Davis with one of our last picks.
Just more so meant for the Super Bowl matchup. If we take a Bills running back, it opens us up to having the Lions play either the Chiefs or the Bills.
Yeah. Also, for what it's worth, if Evans does somehow fall to us, we probably should take him.
I agree.
He won't fall though. Yeah, he just won't.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but expected.
Same with Goddard too. If Goddard somehow falls to us.
Also, I'm sorry, but how the fuck does Najee have a higher ADP than Bucky Irving?
I have no idea. Because here's the thing. The other team that I would just avoid right now if I was drafting is Pittsburgh. Because Pittsburgh I will bet anything they're the fucking 5 seed, not the 3 seed.
I agree.
Baltimore
Ravens
is
are 1 game behind them. They play them.
Favorite or a 4-point favorite against them this week in Baltimore.
Yeah. Like
the second Baltimore beats Pittsburgh, they're in first in the division.
Also, am I crazy? Why the fuck does it say that the Steelers have a 65% chance at the division when Baltimore's favored against them?
They
this
have
week?
An extra win. That's why.
But Baltimore's favored against them this week. And doesn't Baltimore have the tiebreaker?
It doesn't factor in like percentages, like making the playoffs. I don't think it really factors in too much who their rest of the season schedule is. I think it just factors in mathematically.
Well, that's specifically for clinch division, and it's only between them and Baltimore for the division.
Right.
By the way, Pickens fell back to us, so that's probably the pick, right?
No, we already have two AFC teams that we've already accounted for. I think.
Fair enough.
I think we should go NFC with our other running back as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'll let you make the call here.
We could.
I personally think Pickens is like a good pick here.
Shit. Let's grab Patrick and Pickens, maybe.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay, we'll grab Patrick and Pickens. It just sucks. Like we're kind of admitting that Pickens will be a 1 or 2 week play maximum.
Probably, yeah. But at the same time, it's like he gives us a spike week and he gets us through to the Chiefs because we have.
Yeah, but like, don't find dead players; they'll find you. Is what I mean. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to seek out dead players if possible.
100%. But also, it's like it's a different scenario if you're taking Pickens at ADP when you're expecting him to be a one-off versus when you're taking him 8 picks after ADP.
Yeah. So Kenny Gainwell, are we wanting to go really just like let's hope that all we need is like 6 points out of our running back to get out of round 1 and go Kenny Gainwell and Ray Davis? Or do we want to go Kenny Gainwell or Ray Davis and a hammer who's going to get 1 game or 2 games maybe?
Yeah, a Ty Johnson or a Ray Davis plus a hammer is probably how I'd play.
I think Rachaad White is the best hammer then,
Agreed.
if that's the case.
Agreed. So the next turn, because we obviously have 2 in a row, it's probably got to be 2 running backs here. Oh,
yeah,
definitely got to be 2 running backs, right?
It's extremely, extremely likely that Brian Robinson would play the Lions. So I don't want to give him only 1 game. Like at least with Rachaad White, it's like it's likely they'd play the Lions in round 2, but at least you get 2 games out of Rachaad in that case.
By the way, Ty Johnson going stings. Go to running back, Spicy. Is Ray Davis even still available?
Gainwell went already too. Fuck.
Ray Davis. And the other scenario would be a Reynolds or Vaki. Those are like the other scenario if we miss out on Ray Davis to get a correlator for the Super Bowl if the Chiefs weren't to make it.
That's a good point.
So we need one of those running backs to be a Lion or a Bill, and we need the other one to just get us through the advanced rate round 1.
I mean, technically we could still play this scenario that Najee has 2 games, like is the 3 seed. The Steelers are the 3 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to take Najee here, especially because we have Pickens.
Yeah. I guess we're admitting then I guess you get 2 games out of each of those AFC teams anyways. Yeah. If the Steelers were the 3 seed, even if they were the 5 seed, actually, you would still get 2 games out of them because you'd have the Steelers playing the Texans in the first round if they were the 5 seed, Steelers playing the Broncos in the first round if they were the 3 seed.
I would have loved to get Noah Gray on this team, but also like,
did he go?
No.
Oh,
we just can't. I mean, we can actually. Do you want to just say Bun Ray Davis? Chiefs make the Super Bowl. Let's go. Najee, get us through round 1.
Najee gets us through round 1. Chiefs make the Super Bowl, and who knows? Maybe Ray Davis will still fall.
Yeah.
Oh no, we have
no more picks. That's why.
That was the last pick. Yeah, no, fuck no. Dude, Noah Gray is a way better pick than Ray Davis.
Way better, dude. It's like, dude,
we need Najee versus either the Broncos or Texans. There's most likely opponents in week 1. We just need him to have a touchdown and 14 points or whatever and get us through.
Yeah, 100%. Michael Penix, that is interesting, but also I don't hate it if you are a Falcons believer. I don't think they're going to make it, but I mean, over Mayfield is twisted, but I mean, I digress.
That's wild. It sucks that I don't want to take Steelers right now because I think they're going to drop in price, but they drop to us in price.
Yeah.
So
it's like every fucking draft we're doing, we're getting Steelers 8+ picks after their ADP.
I guess everybody's having the same opinion that we're having, which is that Baltimore's favored against them this week. They're probably going to not be the 3 seed anymore.
But even that, are they going to fall all that further than where we just took them? And also on top of that, what if they beat Baltimore?
If they beat Baltimore, they are the 3 seed guaranteed.
That's what I mean. So it's funny to me because it's like, I get discounting them, which is what we've been doing, and that's how you should be playing it. But people are taking it even a little too far.
Yeah. Them being the 3 seed means that they would play Denver in round 1. In round 2, presumably they'd be playing Buffalo, going to Buffalo to play Buffalo. And then you get 2 games out of, and we also have Coleman on this team too. So whoever wins that game will have a live player from. Hopefully it would be the Steelers actually in this case, because we'd have 2 live players and another running back. But it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
for
good
sure.
setup there. And Spicy did pop out of here. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you for helping us out here, Spicy. Say happy birthday to your girl too. You mentioned.
Yeah, amen. Wish her a happy birthday.
Anyways, who are the sleeper Super Bowl teams? Well, if you guys have any questions, fire them away, but we'll probably sign out of here in a second. I'm actually going to a Christmas market in Toronto.
I'm going to go make some food and probably go to the stairs.
Yeah. So who are the sleeper Super Bowl teams? To me, this is not a good year to have a sleeper Super Bowl team, in my opinion. I think the public opinion might be that there's no good teams in the NFL. Like maybe this is a good year to go after sleeper teams. I think the sleeper team in the AFC is Houston and the sleeper team in the NFC is Tampa. Those would be.
I would say the Rams for me in the NFC.
Yeah, that's fair. I think a lot of people would probably go either Rams or Packers, I would imagine. But to me, Tampa is the team that's the sleeper team, even though their odds aren't necessarily sleepery.
Color me shocked. I'm kidding. I'll joke. I mean,
I'm trying not to be biased here, but if they're the 3 seed, like they're going to have a better path to the Super Bowl. And they've already beaten the 1 and 2 seed in the conference in regular season play on the road in both games. So them going to Detroit, first of all, they did it in the playoffs last year, and they also did it earlier this year.
It's funny because how you are right now is how I was last year.
I'm not irrational. I think they're definitely a tier behind Detroit. And
no, I know. I'm trolling you.
Green Bay, Detroit and Philadelphia. But to me, the next tier of teams is Minnesota, Green Bay, and Los Angeles and Tampa. And I would say Tampa is the most likely to go on a run because they have playoff experience. They have good offense. Good offense wins in the playoffs over good defense. In my opinion.
The only counter I'll have.
What's that?
The Rams have that and a better quarterback. That's proven in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, Baker's got playoff experience and the whole offense in general.
Matt Stafford hosted the Lombardi Trophy.
He did. You're right.
That would be my thing. Like dude, again, it's no disrespect.
I think when it matters, the difference between those two teams is that we run the ball better than the Rams, and the I am doing my best Dan impression. The Bucs run the ball better than the Rams, and when it matters, I would trust the Bucs defense over the Rams defense, given the playoff and Super Bowl experience that our defensive roster has.
The counter that I have, if you guys had Godwin, I would agree, but the Rams have Kupp and Nakua healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I'm not
as crazy as it sounds.
Really
I think
right
we're
now.
scheming offense better than the fucking Rams.
I mean, it's funny because guess where Liam Cohen learned how to run that offense?
And yeah, he learned it in Los Angeles. And although in a vacuum, Stafford is a better quarterback, Mayfield's playing better this year.
Yeah, but it's tough to go against the guy that fucking hoisted the trophy in the past.
It is.
Like,
and
honestly.
And once you get into the playoffs, the records don't matter anymore. And what you did during the regular season doesn't matter anymore, which is basically why the fucking Bengals made the Super Bowl. It's like they snuck into the fucking playoffs.
Well, what's crazy is like, again, we were talking about last year, the Lions should have beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship. They threw that game away.
I'm still mad that they did because I probably would have won a lot of money in the gauntlet final had they.
You do remember they beat the Rams by 1 point in the wild card round too.
Yeah.
So like the Rams, like people, if they are counting them out, this was a team that started 1-4, bro, and they've won 7 of their last 9 games. That's absurd.
Yeah, I'm not counting the Rams out. I think if you think the Rams are a great sleeper team to go after, they would be the team I would be hammering right now if I was drafting a lot of teams. You should be hammering them right now.
For sure. I mean, like even when you're looking through, like
even when we go in January, you should be able to hammer Rams still at the same price tag. Like, because they're not gonna finish higher than 3 or 4, so they're gonna basically be the same seed that they are now.
Yeah, Baker, the best ball quarterback to have. I mean, if you had conviction this offseason, you're like, yo, Baker Mayfield with Liam Cohen is not going to skip a beat. They're not going to miss Canales, and he's going to shred. You're making a ton of money right now because the guy's been fucking nails in best ball.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing about the Tampa Bay stack versus the Rams stack is that there's more pieces that you need to account for whereas Tampa, it's like extremely concentrated. It's 2 running backs, Mike Evans and Cade Otton probably.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's pretty concentrated with the Rams too. It's the 2 wide receivers. It's Kyron
right, but
Williams.
They're more expensive, is what I'm saying.
Fair, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that would be the only, like from strictly a playoff best ball standpoint, Baker has been better from a best ball quarterback standpoint, and also to the weapons are affordable and very concentrated in terms of Evans and Bucky specifically. So anyways, that is the end of the stream. Just a short one today. Did 4 playoff best ball drafts. I'll timestamp them in the description, me and Danny are going to be going to Buffalo to do a lot more playoff best ball drafts after the Christmas holiday. We're going, what is it?
Oh, yeah.
The 6th of January, the Monday there. So there will only be one more game left to be played in the regular season when we are there. It'll be probably some like maybe they flex Vikings Lions to the Monday night game or something like that. Or, one of I think the NFC West teams play each other. I think the Cardinals and Rams play or something like that. So there's probably going to be a game that's like for the division that we still have to like predict in when we're doing our drafts, but I still think it's going to be a lot of fun there.
I was going to say, for the record, we're not predicting that the Steelers are going to make the Super Bowl. We're more so saying their path is probably you're either getting a one and done scenario where they lose in the first round and those guys get you through to the next round, or you're getting the scenario where they do win and they're out the next round because they're not beating the Bills or the Chiefs.
Yeah, we're not. And also, for what it's worth, it is more likely that if the Steelers do not win the division, that they're the 5 seed, not the 6 seed.
Yes,
as well. So even though if they lost to the Ravens, they wouldn't be the division leader anymore. They're probably not going to face Baltimore in round 1 because Baltimore is likely whoever wins this division is probably going to be the 3 seed unless the Houston Texans smoke the Ravens in week 17, which is possible. They're at home for that game, but I tend to think that the Texans are inferior to the Ravens. So that's why I would probably. This is the time of year where you got to like try and galaxy brain yourself a little bit. And the master sheet at least helps you think of, okay, if this happens, what's the butterfly effect of it? Which is why I think it's a good resource to have, because it doesn't matter what I think necessarily. You're playing for scenarios. You're just making sure that you're not double counting something that's impossible. Like, for example, if you think the Steelers are going to be the 3 seed, you can't be like, oh yeah, well, like I'm going to draft the Ravens also as if they're going to be the 4 seed. It's like, that's not possible because they can't win the division.
See, the problem that I have with this is Denver also has a really difficult remaining schedule. So, like, if they had a very easy schedule, I can maybe convince myself that, okay, maybe they can hop up to the 5 seed. But like you have listed here, like, it feels pretty likely they're going to end up the 6 or the 7.
Yeah, because they play the Chargers this week on the road. And if the Chargers win that game, they will be the 6.
Bengals on the road, and then the Chiefs
Bengals on the road, and then the Chiefs at home in week 18. Again, maybe that's a meaningless game for Kansas City and they don't play any starters or whatever. But the Steelers, again, you can look at the Steelers schedule and say the same thing. They got the Ravens this week, the Chiefs in week 17 at home, and then the Bengals in week 18. For sure, you could see the Steelers maybe throwing a couple games here and losing 2 games in a row or losing 2 of their last 3 or whatever and dropping down to the 6 seed. But I think it's probably... I'm a biased Broncos fan. Quit using logic. Yeah. I mean, my question to you, though, would be like, wouldn't you rather play the playoff choke artist, Baltimore Ravens, than Houston?
No, because
but like
Baltimore's a much better team than Houston.
Is it a tangible, like huge upgrade to play Baltimore versus? I don't think it's a big difference, to be honest.
I love Lamar Jackson, but if he loses another playoff game as the favorite, we're going to have to start a dialogue.
I mean, everybody started it last year because they were.
Well, it's like everybody wants to talk about Dak Prescott in the playoffs. Lamar's been fucking objectively worse, and we're talking about Lamar Jackson. Like, he's a better quarterback. I will fucking say that for free. I'm a Dak fan.
Here's my prediction: one of the 2 AFC Daks will buck the narrative and make this.
I agree.
It's either going to be Allen or it's going to be Lamar. I do not think Kansas City's making the Super Bowl. That would be my stance. If I'm wrong about that, then obviously we just drafted some teams to make me right, even if that's the case. But my general feel of my portfolio, once we get to like my specific teams on my account in January, when we go to Buffalo, like I'm going to be avoiding Kansas City like the plague.
Fair enough. Michael, I appreciate y'all first year doing best ball. Have like 13 teams advancing. No BBM teams selling. Did like 5 of those. Let's go.
13 teams advancing, as in
probably a cross contest.
Oh, okay, yeah,
like
okay.
Puppy,
that's still. I mean, that's
still really
not many
good.
sweats in week 16.
Hey,
if that's you mean out of week 16, they're advancing, not just into week 15. They were advancing. That's a lot of teams. I mean, I only have 2 teams left. Like literally 2. I have 2 Best Ball Mania teams. That's it.
I believe all I have is my BBMs. I have 5.
Which is awesome.
By the way, did you see
have 5? And then we have collectively on Spicy Hot's account, we have 1 more too.
Did you see that one guy who advanced 11 of his 23?
That's an insane advance rate. He must have just been like one of those guys that drafts 60% of some player, and he just had like 80% Chase Brown or something like that.
It was like, was it FF Ryan B? I think it was FF Ryan B. I think his name was something like that. But he's the one with the Eckler, double Eckler in his profile pic. I'm sure you've seen that on Twitter before.
Right.
Dude, he literally said like he had 23 teams advancing to week 15. He has 11 of those going through.
Yeah, that's really good.
Again, like mine is crazy to begin with. For reference for you guys to know how crazy that is. It's 13-man pods, only one team advanced. So me getting 5 of 23 in itself, if you're doing the math, 1 out of 13, that's what? A 7% 7% implied chance of getting through. 5 out of 23, that would give me just about nearly 23% equity.
Yeah, like you were expected to advance 1.7 teams on a 23. Yeah. And I had 26 teams get through, so I was expected to advance 2.
So that,
and I did.
That guy literally fucking had what, 46% of his teams advance.
That's an insane number. That is an insane number.
Fucking ludicrous.
Like, here's the counter to that is that
very chalk next round.
Very chalky players, most likely, is what he has.
Yeah, and we were going through some
with that many teams. You got to figure at least 2 or 3 of them aren't chalky.
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of where I'm at with it too. And I showed you before. Obviously, again, we're signing off, so it's not like I'm gonna fucking go through all my fucking portfolio. But I showed you the team that I had the highest points for this week. I did have some chalk, but dude, there's guys like fucking Addison, JSN, George Pickens, like guys that didn't have huge weeks that I got through to this round. So if this week George Pickens comes back and he has 33 half PPR points because he's capable of doing that, maybe he's the fucking piece you need that not many people even advance to this point.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. This is a good question to answer before we get into a lot of these
Mike Evans, a big one.
I think one of my highest owned players, just generally my strategy is going to be load up on Buffalo Bills. So I would say some of my highest owned players will probably end up being Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, James Cook, maybe Mac Hollins late on drafts or whatever.
Ty Johnson, Ray Davis.
On the NFC side of things, we didn't take any Eagles teams really this time because, like I said, I expect them to get the 1 seed, but I am going to probably load up on a lot of Eagles as well. So I would imagine, Devontae Smith or one of those guys will probably end up being highly rostered. And of course, because I got to be a little bit biased here, I do think Tampa has a chance to go to the NFC Championship. So Tampa players like Mike Evans and Bucky Irving, I might end up with a decent amount of. And Baker will 100% be my go-to because by then we'll know who's getting the 1 seeds. Baker will be my go-to get out of the first round quarterback, probably.
For sure. By the way, I think they're in the process of advancing the BBM teams because it showed
they do it on Thursdays usually.
Well, it showed yesterday that I had 1,900 and now it says I'm winning 950.
Okay, so maybe they are advancing them today, but usually they do it on Thursdays. Typically.
That would be fucking weird if
round 1 prizes, round 2 prizes will be paid out December 19th. Yeah, so tomorrow they're going to advance them.
How did I go from 1,900 to 950?
Well, they added the money. They advanced you through money-wise, but they give it a day, I think. So it's like maybe they started advancing teams through, but then they're like, we're not going to be finished all the advancing at the time. Okay.
So basically, the 1,900 was like before this week, I guess, then, right? Because I was at like 1,950. I saw it. Now it says 950.
Yeah, so they probably get in the process of advancing your teams through.
Okay, makes sense.
But anyways, appreciate you guys for joining us. Did some playoff best ball drafts. Again, stay tuned. If you guys enjoyed this, we'll probably do at least 1 or 2 more streams even before we go, I would imagine, to Buffalo to do more playoff best ball drafts on Spicy's account. And then we will be doing a ton when we're in Buffalo, January 6th, that Monday. We'll probably stream a couple hours worth of them. And then, so stay tuned for all that. Hopefully you guys, this should be first week of, holiday stuff for everybody. So hopefully you guys have safe and fun holidays. Appreciate you guys for joining us. We will have matchups that matter tomorrow and so on and so forth. We're going to do a Dynasty Cornerstone rankings Friday, and then we'll have our usual tier list on Saturday. So stay tuned for all that stuff. Weekly rankings should be up to date by tomorrow before Thursday Night Football as well. So stay tuned for all of that stuff as well. Peace out. We'll talk to you soon.